Hello, everyone. Welcome to another amazing edition of Ask NP Deidre with nurse practitioner Deidre Arms with Aspire Wellness and Integrative Health out of Ohio. Today, we are talking about a little known enzyme that is putting you at risk of coronary artery disease, which is those blocked arteries in the heart, as well as peripheral artery disease, which is it's those blocked arteries in the legs. It's called homocysteine. And to learn more about that, I am going to introduce nurse practitioner Deidre Arms. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm curious, why is this a little known enzyme? It's something that is up on the American Heart Association website, is something that, should be checked. So why is it not more well known?
I think that's a good question. I think it doesn't fall into a routine lab, but it's easy for us to check. Absolutely. And I think when we're looking at it, maybe it's the fact that many people aren't aware of what this enzyme does in the body. So that could be part of that as well, why it's not checked. But it's an amino acid in the body, and it can silently increase your risk of heart attack, stroke, and blood clots. So we think of it as like the canary in the coal mine, if you've heard that scenario before.
So when you talk about it, so it's an amino acid in the body. What does it do? What every single thing in our body has a responsibility. In normal levels, what is the responsibility of homocysteine?
So it's a byproduct that's made when the body breaks down methionine, and that is one of your essential amino acids. And we get methionine in protein-rich foods like your eggs, meat, dairy, and it's normally recycled in your body using certain vitamins, especially your B6, your B12, and folate, which is B9. But when it's on the lower end, like if you don't have enough of those nutrients or you have that genetic mutation, MTHFR, then homocysteine levels can build up in the bloodstream like that. And it can become dangerous to the arteries and damage blood vessel walls. It can trigger inflammation, and it can make your blood more likely to clot if that becomes elevated. So we call that hyperhomocysteine.
And what causes it? I mean, why are these levels, why did they end up being off? I know for me, I do have the MTHFR mutation, at least one mutation. And the way the dietitian described it to me is I have trouble turning food into fuel, particularly any enriched products with folic acid. So I can't have any enriched products with folic acid, and I have to take a methylated B vitamin liposomally in order to make sure that this enzyme is broken down. I don't know the details as to why or how, and I'm wondering if you can make sense of it all for me. I'm just doing what the dietitian says.
Right. So our biggest reason to have elevated homocysteine levels is when we have B vitamin deficiencies, right? Because your B6 or P5P really converts homocysteine to cysteine. So it's like that conversion in the body. And then you also need B12. I'm going to say your B vitamins are made in your gut. Spoiler alert. But you need B12 for converting homocysteine to methionine. So, like, you're needing these essential B vitamins to do the conversion of what homocysteine needs into these amino acids. And then you need the folate because it's crucial for what we call methylation, all part of that MTHFR. So without the proper B vitamins and B vitamin deficiency, that methylation kind of stalls in the body and homocysteine builds up.
So is it about because I've been told my B levels are normal. Is it something that is there a difference between just general B vitamins and B vitamin absorption that are measured differently?
Right. So this is how I typically measure B vitamins, because you can draw a B vitamin, a B12, and it looks normal on a blood test, right? But if you are somebody who has that genetic mutation, MTHFR gene, and there's several different copies, that reduces your ability to convert that folic acid into the active form of 5-MTHF, the methyl form, and that impairs that methylation, leading to homocysteine levels becoming elevated like that. So the genetic mutation part of that can be a reason as well that your B12 looks normal, but you're not methylating it well, so it stalls in there. So I check homocysteine level with my B vitamin levels, because you need to know both of those. You can have a normal looking B vitamin level, but have an elevated homocysteine, and that lets us know you're not methylating that properly, and so you probably have that genetic mutation, MTHFR, which is very common to have, and especially in people with cardiovascular disease.
It is pretty common. I did a little experiment and I decided to pick, just 10 people and I said, "Hey, go get this test." And 9 out of 10, I mean, it seems weird, but it was 9 out of the 10 people ended up with high homocysteine levels. And I mean, I would think that the American Heart Association would make a bigger deal out of it, but I'm wondering maybe why not? Why aren't people researching this further? Is this something that, like, how would we get more additional clinical studies done on this particular enzyme and the damage that it does, and how we can, what if we caught it sooner? What if it was part of a basic lipid panel at a certain age, or with people who have risk factors, such as if they have heart disease in their family or peripheral artery disease in their family, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, whoever, grandma, grandpa, whoever it might be, has it, that maybe they should be someone that should have it as part of a basic lipid panel when they turn, let's say, 30 or 40.
So I'm in total agreement of all of that, because I think the more knowledge we know early on, the more actions that we can take and help our health. And I know there is a big push for these type of labs to be done. I know the Function Health that's out there, that most of us are seeing advertisements for Function Health. It is put in part of their, you can add the MTHFR, homocysteines added in there. And I feel like more and more as we talk about these things and we say the importance of these things and people are looking into it, that's how we start to change what becomes more basic than not basic in the blood panels that we do. But you're absolutely right. Somebody with a family history always needs a deeper dive. Like your normal cut and dry 22-year-old who has a healthy life with no family history probably doesn't need to dig deep into these levels. But somebody with a cardiovascular history in their family, anxiety, depression even, it's a good thing to be looking in to the MTHFR gene and looking into advanced lipids and the homocysteine level.
Have you found that if someone, has the high homocysteine levels, that it's something that they've had for a very long time? You think that it's something that um, ends up happening sooner rather than later? I know with my dad, it wasn't discovered in him until he was 78 years old. And it's interesting because he got it done. I ended up getting it done, but I'm, in my 40s, right? And I found out that I have it. Well, now, I don't know, maybe I'm able to prevent the atherosclerotic buildup that is due to the homocysteine, the high homocysteine levels, right? The homocysteine, the way it's described, is like nails on your artery walls, right? It causes damage leading to the plaque buildup, in the arteries and the stiffening of the arteries. So if I catch that as one of the main risk factors that I may have for heart disease, um, might I be able to prevent it? Prevent or delay the onset of atherosclerosis.
So I think the question is that to that is like, yes, because there's actionable things that we can do when we know. Because if the homocysteine level is elevated, like I said, it's that canary in the coal mine where it's giving you an early warning sign or signal that your body is under metabolic stress. And then we have action to take. But if we're just doing routine things and we're relying on just a routine B12 level or cholesterol panel. We're not digging deep enough to like get the canary in the coal mine early enough to make the changes needed to for prevention.
And with this, I mean, some people might experience what fatigue if they're experience this early on. They might, after they eat, end up feeling some joint issues. Like after eating bread or other enriched products. What other symptoms are we looking at that maybe go, not really noticed, or we play them off as, just, oh, part of life or stress or whatever it might be?
Yeah. So brain fog, we hear that a lot. People feel fatigued, they have brain fog. Hormone imbalances, I talk a lot about women's health, but this homocysteine level really plays into hormone imbalances and infertility as well. And even cognitive issues. So we see it in people with Alzheimer's or cognitive decline. So definitely, those are some of the things that we might notice, the hormone imbalances. If we're proactive about our longevity, then we need to be like looking into this sooner.
Can I open up a can of worms?
Always.
So, women, as they're preparing for pregnancy, are told to take folic acid, and they have the folic acid in. I can see you're smiling. You're biting your lip there. Okay, yeah,
Uh,
this is a good one. So, I am concerned for someone who does still want to have kids, has this MTHFR mutation. It's supposedly controlled with not eating foods enriched in folic acid and making sure that I'm taking the B vitamin. But am I going to be one that's going to be negatively impacted by taking prenatal vitamins with folic acid as a supplement?
so there's about 40% of us that carry the MTHFR gene, and we have trouble
A
breaking
lot.
down the folate. So that, I mean, that's a huge majority of people out there. And so when you're taking prenatals, what you're looking for to get the proper prenatal is one with the form of methylfolate that is better absorbed. I do want to say though, you can take all the right supplements, but if you are eating fortified folates in your food, like fake folate in your breads and your cereals and stuff, it's like mopping your floor with dirty boots. Like you are literally like negating the good stuff that you're doing. So we have to look at that as a whole picture. Like you have to be addressing your food as medicine if this is something that you carry this MTHFR gene. And when it comes to pregnancy, recurrent pregnancy loss, like we do look into MTHFR as part of that. The guidelines are after 3 pregnancy loss, but I usually look into MTHFR and homocysteine levels, especially when I start to hear their family history. Like that kind of opens up the door. Like this is a genetic SNP. So if we're getting a genetic predisposition of something, somebody in the family has to have a cardiovascular, anxiety, recurrent pregnancy loss themselves, infertility. So that there lets me open the door to let's know ahead of time. But you're right, if you're taking prenatal vitamins and you have the MTHFR and you're not doing a methyl form of folate, that can be an issue for you, certainly.
I'm hoping the one that you put me on is I need to go look.
I'm
I
not going to steer
would
you wrong.
No, you wouldn't. I would imagine that that would be a default for you. I'm sure when you're dealing with people, you probably default to that just as a precautionary measure.
I do. Absolutely default to the methyl form of B vitamins. But also that education piece of knowing that if you're eating those fortified folates, like, we can't out supplement a poor diet. So,
So it's just, I mean, to get the real good stuff, it's just staying away from the key, it seems, is staying away from enriched products. I mean, even if you don't necessarily have this snippet, I mean, I would imagine that you should still stay away from anything that is enriched with
Um,
folic acid.
yeah, I agree with doing that. Folic acid is so important for pregnancy, but the right kind of folic acid for 40% of the population is really crucial.
And
So,
that's
and
the methylated form of folate, right? The
right, L-methylfolate.
okay. That's really good to know. Go ahead.
And there is prescription prenatals. There is, I know of one brand that of prescription prenatals that has the methylfolate in it. So there's probably more at this point because it's been a while since I've written a prescription prenatal. Many of them aren't covered, and insurances just have women go out and get them over the counter now. But there's a lot of really great brands out there. Orthomolecular has one, Designs for Health, Metagenics, that are the methyl form designed for people with this genetic SNP.
And, for people that are, dealing with this right now, how do you talk to your doctor about getting tested if they're even concerned that they might have it? I know that so many people end up going to a functional medicine practitioner because their general practitioners just don't seem to get it.
That's a good question. And I think when you're choosing a primary care provider or somebody, like there needs to be shared decision making when it comes to your care. And so you want somebody who supports your ideas and your concerns as well and not as dismissive of that. And there's a lot of great providers out there that you can have these open conversations with. But I think if you have a concern, I would definitely talk to them. If you have this family history, you yourself has cardiovascular disease, I definitely want to know more about homocysteine and what's going on, because it's an early warning sign of what's going on metabolically. So it's very helpful, and we can trend that. Like, so ideally, they say 10 in the functional medicine world. We say we want the level to be at 7 or below. We're really looking at the most optimal that your homocysteine level can be. So that's where I would start with just that open, shared decision-making conversation with your provider. And then there's that option to do those function health lab testing. I mean, it's probably cheaper than going to your regular lab and getting labs drawn with a copay. They have such great deals on it. I'm always amazed. It's 160 markers, including homocysteine, and for very little cost with 2 blood draws.
And so the real key for people is to know that there is something, it's worth getting it done. And when you do talk to your general practitioner, say, hey, if I do have this this high homocysteine, there's something that we can do about it. There's an action I can take to mitigate my risk for heart disease or to improve my prognosis if I do have heart disease, because getting a handle on this homocysteine is going to mitigate your risk for additional artery damage and further blockages, whether it's in your legs or abdomen or even your heart. And so it's really important to do that. If you do get the high homocysteine level back, what is the next phase of conversation that you do have with your doctor? Is it getting a prescription to, let's say, a prescription B vitamin like Metanix? Is it getting a referral to a dietitian? What would you suggest next?
So definitely switching the vitamins, making sure you're getting that methyl form of B vitamins. Metnex is a great one there. For many people, this is the missing piece to the puzzle, right? If a test could uncover the root cause of a symptom that they're having or could reduce blood clot risk or protect your heart and your brain, we want to do that for the long haul. And so dietitian all day long, because they're going to teach you how to eat the proper foods, right? Staying away from foods that have fortified folate if you have homocysteine levels that are elevated. That's ideal for you to do, especially if you're really trying to work on your health and reduce those risks. That's an important piece.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nurse Practitioner Deidre. I think that this was a really important discussion to have it. It's going to be a great resource for people going forward to learn about this and be able to take action on it, especially when I have found, and it seems you have found, so many people have gone undiagnosed with it. And most people you do end up testing, they do have this, and it's something that you can do something about. If you want to learn more about homocysteine and you want to learn more about methylfolate and any other supplementation out there, you can go to AspireWIH.com. That is Nurse Practitioner Deidre's brand new website for Aspire Wellness Integrative Health. Also, make sure you like this video and make sure you subscribe to our channels. This is so important. Subscribe to youtube.com/the @ NP Deidre, DEIDRE. You can also subscribe to the Global PAD Association's YouTube channel for more amazing content as well. And that's youtube.com/the @ the way to my heart. And it's the way to my heart because that's our 501(c)(3). Thanks everyone for joining us. We really appreciate you. And thank you again, Nurse Practitioner Deidre, for all your help and your amazing insight.